What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916. You're tuned into another edition of my vlog. Hopefully you subscribe to the channel by now. You know, I kick a lot of positivity on this channel, motivating you to do something with your life. I also talk about everything from cars to race to economics to, a little bit of everything. Relationships, sexuality. Well, today I want to talk about a question, actually a comment from somebody who responded to one of my videos. It says, if you are a human being, you are deep down inside inclined to be prejudiced. It is in our nature to associate with others who look, appear like ourselves. This is not exclusive to one race. The challenge is how much we can suppress this as individuals and interact with people without letting these natural inclinations surface. Just look at prison. Everyone gravitates towards their own. What makes you think it would be any different outside? It is also important to note that stereotypes exist for a reason. They aren't just out there in thin air. They are societal problems exclusive to that demographic example. Whites in school shootings, Latinos in teen pregnancies, blacks in the murder rate per capita. Being able to function in society without these being base instincts interfering in our actions at a subconscious level is what we should strive for. I'm gonna let you guys just sit back and absorb that for a minute, what this person just said. He said that we are all inclined to be prejudiced and we all gravitate towards our own, as you can see is what they do in prison. Let me tell you something about prison, buddy. You've never been there. Prison is the most racial, ignorant place you could ever be. So don't tell me about what you gravitate towards. You gravitate there because you have no choice. It's politics. You know, it's no different than the people that work there in certain parts of the country have a tendency to exert their will over the next person because that's what they've been trained to do. That's the mindset. As a kid going to daycare, you do not see color. You do not see prejudice. It isn't in your fucking blood to dislike a little white kid or a little Mexican kid or a little Asian kid, dumbass. I grew up around a multitude of different cultures, and never did I look at my mom's white friend when she went to high school and said, hey, she's white. I don't like her. No, she was a woman. I thought she was pretty. She had a Spanish friend, Mexican friend. Oh, I thought she was pretty too. I was a little kid that liked women, but never did I in my mind think that because she was white, she wasn't as pretty as a black woman, or a Mexican woman wasn't as pretty as a black woman because of her skin tone. So for you to be saying that you're born with that, you gotta be a straight dumbass. You're taught racism. You're taught that. You do not go to school and start judging people on their color unless somebody pointed it out to you. You can see multiple examples of kids growing up black, white, Asian, Mexican, Indian, and they all love each other the same. It's not till they get to a certain age where people start saying things and they're exposed to certain negative elements that they even realize there's a difference. You don't realize that until somebody tells you, and then you sit back and ponder on what you've been told. When I went to school in Texas, mind you, up until first grade, I didn't know I was black. I had white kids in my class, Mexican kids in Sacramento. We all got along. We were all cool. Did nobody have any racial prejudice in their bones? Nobody knew anything about there being a skin difference. Nobody said, "Oh, you're black. Oh, you're white. You're pale. Ooh, look at you. You're dark." Nobody said any of that. When I got to Texas, which is one of the most racist places in the country, that's when I heard the word nigger. And I looked around, nigger, what does that mean? Well, it meant to fight or flight. Either I'm gonna put my hands up and get into it with these little white kids, or I'm gonna run so I don't get jumped by 4 or 5 little white kids that are calling me nigger for whatever reason I don't know. But I never heard of the word until I moved to Texas at the age of 6. So don't tell me about what you're born with, dumbass. I grew up on military bases. My grandfather was in the Air Force. My stepdad was in the Coast Guard. So I've seen all type of interactions among different people, and never did I not like somebody because of their skin color. And that wasn't tolerated in my household. I had Filipino friends on the military base. I had white friends. I had Mexican friends. I had friends that were from Dominica. You know, I had friends that were from Laos. You know, so don't tell me about racism. And I didn't know the names for derogatory terms for these people because they weren't spoken at my house. They weren't spoken in the home. So to say that you as a kid are going to be racist because it's born in you, you have no clue. And the reason you lack this is because of your understanding of history and what has transpired through generations and generations of ignorance and what's been taught in the history books. So you think certain individuals or certain races haven't contributed to society, therefore there's some type of prejudice that results as that resulted as a lack of knowledge. Read your history, man. You know, it's not a matter of you're born with it, it's a matter of what's basically passed down from generation to generation. I gravitated towards people who thought like-minded. Just because a person looks at like you doesn't mean they're even on the same page as you. You can have a person that's darker than me be on some ignorant, just diabolical time, and you don't want to have nothing to do with them. It's energy. It ain't got nothing to do with racism. Now in prison, you have a lot of racial politics. You have a lot of things that have been set up in the prisons to keep everybody separate so there's no unity, and so it could be better policed without having to enforce certain things. The inmates enforce among themselves. Hey, Big Herc, why are you talking to that white guy? Hey, Big Herc, what's up with you hollering at the Mexicans over there? You know, people are in your business because of just the ignorance of what's been basically disseminated among the people there. A lot of those people, for one, have never interacted with people outside their race, so they have a lack of understanding. And for two, because of just how their homies carry it and what they think should be, they continue the racial ignorance until they actually sit down and have a conversation with somebody and realize, hey man, I have no reason not to like this person. You know, I'm just going along with the prison politics. A lot of people are acting out of fear. You know, just like yourself, you're saying a lot of stuff out of fear. So you talk about racism, you know, and how it's born inside you. No, you go down south, you go to certain places, and the segregation that took place, you know, decades ago, is still in play, and the ignorance is still being passed down from grandfather to grandkid, grandmother to grandchild, and that's why you have the stupidity which circulates in our society. Luckily now, social media has made it accessible for you to get knowledge and information about other cultures and other people, so you realize that what you've been taught by your damn family, and the churches promote a lot of it too. In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, yeah, in the name of Jesus, you're gonna enslave somebody. In the name of Jesus, you're gonna murder and kill people. In the name of Jesus, you should go over here and not date my white daughter, but it's all right if you could score 2 or 3 touchdowns in a football game and, you know, represent my alma mater. You know, it's good, it's all good, but just don't date my daughter. We don't want no black blood in our bloodline. That's ignorance, man. And it's fear, because you're trying to preserve something when there is no preservation. Go back and read the history, man. You know, blacks created from black comes everything. Asian, Mexican, white. Go look at the history. The first remains of humans were found in Africa. So they weren't white, they weren't Mexican, they weren't Asian. As people moved out and it changed in climate, you have different skin tones because of exposure to sunlight and melatonin, and just how things progressed over centuries of evolution. But believe me, man, you're not preserving anything. And you have no clue. And obviously, you must be somebody who is white, thinking that the reason why you think a certain way is because you were born with it. No, you were gradually indoctrinated with a certain concept that was pushed in the teachings in school, among your peers, lack of understanding, lack of interaction with black people, lack of interaction with Hispanic people. Therefore, you speak of ignorance. Yeah. Do you know that the reason why we have light bulbs is because of the filament created by a black scientist? Yeah. Do your research. First open heart surgery was performed by a black man, Daniel Hale Williams. Yeah. Nobody wanted to take the chance of operating on somebody who had been injured, had a heart injury or heart trauma. So he operated. The guy was stabbed in the heart. He went in there, cut his chest open, sealed the guy up, and the guy lived another 30 or 40 years. Yeah. He really advanced the use of antiseptics and surgeries. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you know about Charles Richard Drew. 1904 to 1950. Yeah, he helped organize the blood banks in England and the United States during World War II. Black man. Yeah. So the reason why you have people now who can actually get blood transfusions and actually have surgeries without dying from the loss of blood is because of a black man. Yeah, read it, man. Why isn't this in the history books? Because they want you to think that we're inferior, that we're barbaric, and that we have this high rate of violence and murders. No. If you do your math, go look at the FBI numbers. White people kill more people than anybody. It ain't the black people. And you talk about Mexicans and the birth rate. Well, do your history. And do and find out more about what you speak of before you start speaking on it. Because a lot of what you're saying is what you've observed, so you've come to a conclusion thinking that you have some sense in what you're saying, but you really sound like a damn fool. They show you all that, all the murdering and stuff to make you think, oh, blacks are just all violent, stay away from them. But they don't tell you about the intelligent black people who are going to college, who are educating each other, who are doing things. Do you know about Black Wall Street? Do you know about Black Wall Street in Oklahoma? That was the first act of terrorism executed in this country by white farmers who bombed Black Wall Street in Oklahoma, a town, wiped it out because they were so mad that blacks were flourishing. Yeah, do you know about that? Now, who taught those white people to be racist? Black people were doing their thing, minding their business. Having businesses, had banks, had hospitals, had all this wealth, and white people didn't like it. So they flew with motherfucking planes that they used on the farms, and they dropped bombs on the black buildings, and nothing happened to them. Nothing happened to them. So you talk about violence and black people, you better go look at your history, man. Go look at the Tuskegee Project and what they did to the black men and infecting them with syphilis to see how their bodies would respond. And these were U.S. Army men. These were soldiers that they basically injected. Yeah, man. So this is all taught. And they like to keep that, and the stereotypes to keep people like you ignorant so that you make stupid ass comments. It ain't born in you, it's taught on both sides. I know black guys that have never interacted with white people, never had Mexican friends. I know a bunch of them. Oh, Big Herc, how you ever slept with a Mexican girl? Oh, you had sex with a white girl? Ooh, what's up with this? Oh, well, my brother and sister are half white. Yeah, my stepdad right now, he's white. I got nieces that are white. Brother-in-law, that's white. Stepdaughter, that's white. A wife, that's white. And I didn't pick and say, hey, I'm going to get me a white woman, because it's just what happened to be what the universe placed in front of me. And it worked out. Nothing to do with race. Nothing to do with some type of predetermined, oh, Big Herc, you want to be white. No, it had nothing to do with that. Because like I said, I wasn't raised like that. Some of you guys were raised among ignorance. Therefore, I can't knock you because of just what your people taught you. Therefore, you have a duty to undo that ignorance and to take a stand and realize that the way you think is due to lack of understanding. You know, lack of maybe getting a good history lesson. And when you guys say, oh, well, you know, some black people act a certain way, well, some of them probably have a reason for that, because when you look at what they've endured and what they went through, there's a lot of bitterness there, man. You know, I mean, anytime you can look at a picture and see when they used to hang black people and cut the ears off and their balls off and use them as jewelry, that's pretty sick, man. You know, anytime you had a culture that used to roast black people over an open fire like a fucking pig, that's pretty sick. And these people were taught this shit, you know? When they came to Africa and started taking the first blacks, they didn't have any idea what they were going to use them for. And of course, you know, yeah, there was tribes over there that used to take other tribes and basically, put them in have them captive and put them into slavery. I mean, it's nothing new. Other, blacks have enslaved blacks. Muslims have enslaved Muslims. Christians have done the same. They've all done it. But as you grow and you read about history and you get an understanding for how, civilization has advanced and people should treat each other, you don't act the same as a past culture because you realize it was all based on ignorance and foolishness. So you try to act out differently. And that's what it's all about, is reading so you can have a better understanding of just why people treat people the way they do. So, don't just watch a bunch of shit on YouTube and cable television and think that you got an education. Go read some old books, man. Read some books about people who have contributed to the advancement of mankind. And you'll read about a lot of blacks, a lot of Asians, a lot of Mexicans. And, it wasn't blacks just all violent and shit. Well, because if you look, the white people were just as violent, killed just as many people, and it's still going on today. You can go to parts of Eastern Europe right now, and Caucasians are killing the shit out of each other. Just as some of the Africans are killing the shit out of each other over there. And the Muslims, the Saudis over there against the Yemen, they're killing the shit out of them over there. So it's going on everywhere. So don't just say that it's a demographic that's most responsible for a certain action. No, do your history, do your research, man, before you make certain comments, because if you're college educated, you were educated at the worst college possible. They didn't give you a full plate of knowledge because you have a sour bitterness in your words that doesn't show that you have a balance of information. This is Big Herc 916, man. I'm gonna keep it real, and all you got to do is just do your homework, man, and you can see the truth. You can find the truth. But subscribe to the channel, share this post, and go take a history lesson, man, so you can get some real, and then you'll have a better understanding of what the hell is really going on and why we have the racism, why we have so much ignorance in prison, because of just the levels of understanding and energy most people are operating on is so low that they don't even see past what's in front of them because they're not operating on a spiritual level. And I'm on a spiritual level. Go watch The Matrix, homie.